Just hang on, I'll talk you up. Okay? Just stay there for a minute. Just hold fire. All right, now before I get Scotty up, because every sorry about that, guys. Just had to play with the video. Sorry about that. Every briefing night has a comedy side to it, and you're about to see the comedy side. Trust me. But before I do, I just need to make sure, guys. Can you hear me at the back? Yeah. You sure? All right. Now, everybody that's got one of these, can you please hold them up? Everyone that's got one of those cards, can you please hold them up right now? If you haven't got a card, you can use your hand. All right. Now, are you seeing this, Scotty? All right. Well, I want you all to, hands in the air as well. Then, if you haven't got a card, put your hands in the air for me. Now, when I go to the left, right, I want you to go to the left. You ready? After 3. 1, 2, 3. To the left. That was right, by the way. And to the left. And now you can go back the other way. Scotty, I can confirm they're still awake. So we're all good. We may have needed to wake you up for this one, but not now. So let me just turn this off. Guys, it is time to talk emergency first aid and the gruesome stuff. It's going to be gruesome. Who's first kokoda is? I didn't see that before. Who's who? Oh. They've not seen these pictures yet, so there's loads of them. All right, so please welcome to the stage the man himself, Mr. Scott Whimpey.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. So welcome along. First of all, I know how much you love sitting down, and because you don't do any walking or hiking or anything. So first of all, can everyone just stand up? Everyone stand up. Get on your feet. Come on. Get up. This is the good part of the night. I want everyone to turn to their right, put their arms out, and massage the person on their right. Go for it. Come on. Come on. Hang on, I'm missing out. Okay, turn around. Return the favour. Come on. Support crew, you need to go extra good on this one. Okay, sit down. Get down. It's good. Loving it. I just wish I was in the middle of all of that right now. Nice, got to get you moving, guys. So we're going to be pretty quick tonight because I understand that you obviously want to get home and get to bed, get out for the weekend and get up and down pollies and do all the stuff that you want to do. My name's Scott Whimpey. I'm from a company called First Aid Access Emergency, and we started doing sort of first aid training and selling equipment on the Gold Coast about 15, maybe 20 years ago. And I started getting involved with the Kokoda Challenge probably about, I worked out it was about 11 or 12 years ago, and the first time I was involved with the Kokoda Challenge, I went out and first aided for the event, and I just couldn't work out. I just did my head in. I couldn't work out why people were actually just walking backwards down like massive, like just staggering backwards down huge hills. And I sort of went up to them and went, "What are you doing walking backwards?" And they're like, "Mate, you don't understand." And I've got video footage of guys doing that for 30 kilometres because of ITB issues. Alright, so I'm not here to scare anyone, but I sort of am, because if you're not serious about this event at this point in time, you need to start sharpening up big time. Not by going out and doing extra training or anything like that, but just start getting mentally tough for this event. Talking mental toughness, like the Kokoda kids, they have no idea what they're in for at this point in time. And some of you, can you put your hand up? I know Doug probably did before, but first timers, can you put your hand up, first timers? Okay, this is you guys. Second timers, you are crazy and probably should be locked up. Okay, I'm up to 4 for this event, but have first aided for this event for 8 or 9 years. So just all the different injuries and issues that you may be able to get. So tonight, really, just the Kokoda kids. The first year I was involved, I had a whole lot of walking backwards and really weird things happening, and I'll talk about some of that in a moment. But essentially, when a Kokoda kid, I did the Kokoda camp, and he was 16 or 17, real cheeky little bugger, and I remember him, and he gave me a hard time whenever I was talking and teaching about snake bites and whatever when we were out there, and all different bits and pieces. And then I saw him out on the track. I was called out to an issue out at Narang Forest. This kid had been walking for like 26 hours or 27 hours, and he'd fallen over and broken his arm. This same kid snapped his arm. It was like a really decent, like, hooer of a break. So I'd run out into the forest and grabbed him and had a look at him and said, "Mate, that's it, it's all over, we've got a 4-wheel drive ambulance coming." He goes, "No, I want to continue because the diggers would have kept going. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm coming with you then, I'm coming with you. So at that point in time, I just thought to myself, like, this event, you know, nothing else that I've ever been involved in, all different Ironmans, different events of all sorts over the years. This is an event for a 17-year-old kid to do that. I just thought, you know, that's really what we're here for. And you think about the diggers back in the day, you know, doing what they did in PNG for Australia, and it really just, that puts it home for me, a local Gold Coast event, you know, supporting local people, it's great. So anyway, I'm going to impart some knowledge on you tonight, and hopefully I'm not going to scare the pants off everybody, but anyway, let's give it a go. So essentially, my discussion tonight is just really about basic first aid, but essentially I really want to sort of narrow in on blister care for your feet and ITB syndrome, because those two things is definitely around 20% of dropout rate just on its own, straight up. So if you can get on top of that, then you're pretty much going to get yourself through the rest of it, just being mentally tough, okay, so, and a bit of training. But that's all our subjects. We're going to talk about communication, foot preparation, blister care, ITB issues, shaping, look after your bits, absolutely look after your bits. You know, a lot of people say to me, mate, I don't shape that much, like what? I don't shape much at all, like and I'm like, what's your longest walk you've done? Oh, 6 hours? And I'm like, oh, that's a fair bit. Wait till you get to 25 hours. Like, and salt, like the sweat is very abrasive. People don't realise how abrasive that stuff is when you start to sweat. So I talk a bit about shaping and what you can do. We've got some products on the back, but even just having some basic Vaseline for those spots. Basic first aid kit, hydration, and just a couple of motivational bits right at the end just to fire you right up. So first of all, guys on the track, Joe spoke about it earlier, but essentially, if you get in trouble, we've got QAS involved in this event and a lot of different first aid organisations helping out. So obviously, knowing where you are, calling 112. If anyone's not aware of what 112 does on your mobile phone, then 000 will usually use your network provider. So if you're with Optus and you've got no service out there, you've got nothing. Whereas you call 112, you're generally going to get any satellite that goes over your head, and that's just a good first aid general tip anyway. So make sure you get that into your phone. Never leaving someone by themselves. I had a school team about 2 years or 3 years ago. I can't remember how long ago it was. They sort of blur into one another after a while. But this lady, she sent all of her kids, and it was the middle of the night. It was like 3 in the morning, and I've had to run out and find her. And basically, all of the kids that were with her, there was 4 or 5 kids that were with her in this school team. They'd completely left her, and she'd sent them a teacher. And I got out there, and I'm like, basically, she was having a heart attack on the track. Like, it was pretty serious. And she'd been left completely on her own. So do not leave a team member on your own, all right? It's really, really important to remember to just stick together. And one of my team members that I first got involved with back in the day, when I first started the event, he said to me, right, we're in this for a really fast time. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the fast time? He goes, oh, anything under 12 hours is considered pretty good. And I'm like, 12 hours? Like, it's 96 kilometres, and it's like climbing to base camp and back. He said, no matter what happens, we're finishing as a team of 4, and we consider ourselves to be on a bus. He said that we're all getting on the bus in the morning, and at this stage my eyes were like wide-eyed. I'm like, you're kidding me, I'm going to die on this bus. I said, what do you mean the bus, mate? I'm happy if we get a bus on this 96 kilometres. He said, no one gets further down from the back of the bus, and no one gets further up the front from the front of the bus. So you all stay within a bus distance apart no matter what, and we're always talking to each other, communicating the whole time. And that year, the girl in our team, who's an absolute freak of nature, she was really upset because we went 11 hours and 21 minutes for the 100k. She was upset she didn't go under 11:20. So that's the sort of calibre of athletes that we were sort of running with in that team that particular year. But guys, I suppose for me, those sorts of times they're not the sort of things that you're out there for, unless you're a racing team. The sort of thing that you need to really be focused on is that bus. Number one, you just need to be focused on the bus, and number two, you need to get to the finish line with a team of 4. If you don't, then you've got to come back next year, which, believe me, they're the other people that are sitting in the room, okay, because they either haven't finished with a team of 4 and it's unfinished business. So, apart from the support crew, you guys rock and roll big time too. Okay, so really, make sure that you focus on keeping each other up and going. And I suppose for me, you know, you fall over and you have a major issue, you know, don't be a hero. I'm not saying to walk with a broken arm, like, that's not what I'm about. But this young guy, he decided to walk. We walked for 4 hours with this guy to finish him. And it was a bit of a struggle, but ultimately you can get to a checkpoint with an upper limb injury, but you fall over and hurt a shoulder. And I've had people actually, and Joe, you're going to hate this, but sorry, I've had people actually weeing on a tree and fall asleep and land on the ground weeing. That's like, and you would not even think that that is possible, but I'm just like, did you see that? Someone just did that. You know, they'll sit down and they'll sit down and go to press their feet and they'll be get up. I'm asleep. It's like, honestly, it's the most bizarre event. When you get up around that 25 to 30 hours plus, oh, it's a different world out there. So anyway, moving right along. If you have a broken leg or a broken foot, we will come out and get you. I will be on feet. I'm not racing this year, and I'm not walking or hiking. I'm out there to help out. So if there's an issue with that, you send someone down the track, you get them to us, and we'll come, whether it's back or forward, we'll come and sort you out, and we'll get you out of there. So we've got QAS and a lot of other people involved. The app that Joe spoke about before is the Emergency Plaza app. This is a really handy app because when you pull it up on your phone, it's free of charge, and anyone in services will know it. But essentially, it GPS pings you wherever you are on the planet. So it's actually quite a good one, and you can make a call from that app and tell people where you are. So emergency services, let them know you're in the Kokoda Challenge on the weekend, and we actually have that event registered with QAS so we can organise to sort you out. Okay. Here we go. I'm wooing you into it. So first of all, it's going to rain. Okay, it's going to rain. I just like to think the worst, and then if it's good, it's good. But the general for us is if your feet get wet, then they're going to start coming apart. I have people that will absolutely vouch for me on this, where I've done trail runs, we've been out for 4 or 5 hours. I'll get to a creek and I'll get someone to piggyback me across the creek. I'm dead serious about that sort of stuff. So if you can keep your feet dry, guys, honestly, keep your feet dry. Your feet will probably be wet by the time you get to the halfway point if you're doing the full distance. So the Numbumbar hole is where you want a second pair of shoes and a second pair of socks, because if you continue to walk in wet socks and shoes, and particularly hiking shoes, are really good at repelling water and keeping water out, but the reverse side of that is they're like a bucket of water on the inside of your shoes as well. So that's why I like to just go standard running or trail shoes, because they're comfortable, they breathe, they dry out pretty quickly as well. Okay, so general preparation is I like to have 2 pairs of socks, and decent pairs of socks, the merino wool and all that. Try all that stuff in this next week if you're looking at any of that stuff, but you should have most of that stuff sorted out by now. Doug sort of pulled me up the other night and said, mate, not everyone's going to use tape. And I probably will agree with that. Taping your feet, essentially, here we go. Yeah, sweet. So this is at around about the 60 kilometre mark, and that's actually raw skin. And this guy's taped his toes, but essentially he hasn't taped the ball of his foot, and because his feet are so wet, that all this is going to start to come off over the next, 12, 15 hours. So, getting the tape on nice and early is something that you should maybe try this weekend. Don't go out I get a lot of people that get out there for the first time ever on the actual weekend of the Kokoda Challenge and go, dude, I'm going to tape my feet because I saw your slides and they look gross, I was vomiting. And you freaked me out, and everyone's freaked out, so let's get some tape. But it's not everyone's cup of tea. So my idea is if you can prepare prior to just, to basically just organise your feet, maybe try it this weekend, and there's some videos online that we posted not long ago, and we've got lots about that, just to look after yourself, to see how it goes. And if it's not your cup of tea, then it's not your cup of tea, but if it is, then it's just, if it feels comfortable, then I would definitely go something like that just to help out. Okay, keep your feet dry, have your second pair of shoes at the halfway point. Guys, even if you get there and you go, I don't think I'm going to have the second pair of shoes, then don't put them on, it's great. But if you get there and there's no pair of shoes there, it's like getting in your head, I'm going to have a coffee at the halfway point. One year I went, I'm just going to have a coffee at the halfway point. I turned up, there's no coffee van there, and it is liquid gold. And all I wanted was a coffee, that's all I could think about. So, you know, I reckon have the shoes in your clear tub at the halfway point that's just yours, just in case you want them, and get your checkpoint guys to come in and just have them at each checkpoint in case you want to swap out if it's uncomfortable. Do not probably go out and buy a second pair of shoes now. Well, now would be almost too late. You need to wear this stuff in over time as well. Don't just get them on and put them on in the day. You know, you need to wear them around and get them sorted before you actually go and do an event in them. This guy here, he wanted to continue. I'm not sure about that. I think that's probably, yeah. And guys, normally we don't pop blisters. I'm not going to pop a blister like that, no way, because I don't even know what I'm going to be able to see under that. Like, I can probably see his heart from there. So, probably just anything smaller than like a 10-cent piece, just pop it, and you'll know when you get a blister. Who knows about hot spots? Have you ever had hot spots in your shoes? You walk along and they start getting really hot in a certain spot, that is the time to tape them. If you haven't taped that area, put some tape over it, and band-aids and blister packs and stuff can just tear up really quickly, particularly once you get a bit wet. So, here we go. So, all this stuff here, like this is usually the day after or 2 days after, and anyone that has anything to do with trail events in any way, shape or form will tell you that they have absolutely lost toenails. This is just part of the deal. It's just part of the deal with this event. You'll definitely lose toenails. But I remember one year we were coming down into Nerang, and it's the best feeling on the planet. Like, my wife's not here, so I'm probably going to say it's even better than getting married and having babies, but it's right up there. It is. It's right up there coming into Nerang, that last hill. You know, I remember coming down into there and I had the tape on my toes, and I remember just feeling this really hot sensation in one of my toes and went, oh, I'm gone, my toenail's just completely blown apart. And I got down to the finish line and pulled the tape off, and the actual toenail had gone through the front knuckle of my toe in the last 2 or 3 kilometres, but it was really tearing up big time before that, but it got me to the finish line. So ideally, this stuff is just designed to help you get to the finish line a bit. So you're taping all this stuff up before it happens. For those of you who have allergies to tape, I've had a lot of podiatrists come up to me after the event and go, Scotty, heard you talk beforehand, certain people have allergies to tape, the glue, you know, so I used Fixamal on my son's feet and it worked really well as well. And I'm like, that's cool, that's good. So sometimes people will do that podiatry sort of style of just putting a second layer over the skin to help it when it starts getting wet. So that can sometimes be good if you have allergens of any sort to tape. Here's some blister packs that didn't work. And that's the end of the guy's toes that look like a brain or something, I don't know, but that's just really wet. Okay, I had a fella have a go at me 1 year over this one because he went to pull the tape off afterwards and it pulled all the skin off my feet. And I went, okay, no worries, so you just have a bath and put some olive oil on it and just comes straight off. Don't buy the expensive stuff, it'll just float straight off pretty easy. So I said to him after he had a massive go at me the next day, it was actually the next day, he rang me personally and going, I don't know how he got my number. It's not the first name number, alright? So he got my number and he said, Scotty, pulled it off, it was horrible, it was the worst thing. And I said, did you get to the finish line, mate? He goes, yep. And I go, that's it for me then, that's all I need to tell you. Get to the finish line, I'm out after that, you do what you want. Okay, so just removing it can be a bit of an issue. So blisters covered, alright, look at it, think about it, work out what you need to do. ITB, iliotibial band, runs down the outside of your knee. If you have issues with this, then you'll know about it. If you've never had issues with it, then hope to God that you don't have issues with it. But if you do, it will not go away on the weekend. There's nothing you can do in the event to make it go away. It's from coming down the hills, not going up, you'll love going up. Coming down, just lock, each time you lock, and that's why people end up coming down, they just come down backwards because they can't, somehow they just can't bend their knees. And they're like this sort of pace, like for the last 30k, because they just can't handle going up and bending their knees. So ITV, we've come up with a few different things just to help out. Basically, all we're doing is we're just doing like a strap lock above your knee to help keep a bit of tension on that iliotibial band to stop it from locking and inflaming. If you're good with anti-inflammatories, this can help at this point in time as well. So if you're not good with anti-inflammatories and you've never trained with them, forget it. but if you can have them, it's going to ease it a little bit at this point in time. Not condoning drug use by any chance, but just, you know, it does help a fair bit in these sorts of situations as well. So I'm just going to use an example to show you how to strap an ITB, just to give you a tip. So who we got? Someone going to come up? We've got a volunteer. Yeah. Young fella. All right, come up. Yep, this guy here, he might have dealt with it before, so rock and roll. What's your name, mate?
Jeff.
Jen?
Jeff.
Jeff. All right, come up, Jeff. Give Jeff a hand, guys. Come on. We're going to kill him. You hold this, mate. Say hello to everyone. G'day. So all I do, pretty much, generally speaking, and this is really bizarre, because at like 3 in the morning, this sort of stuff doesn't go over the top of pants or over the top of tights at all. It's actually got to go onto the skin. And generally speaking, the girls will just get up there and just be like, right, here you go. Straight down, and you're like, oh, okay, I've seen worse. So generally speaking, Jeff here, his kneecaps here, I go 2 fingers above the kneecap, like that. I just measure 2 fingers above the kneecap. I've got this pretty much on a video as well, guys. And above that kneecap there, all I do is I just put a bit of compression bandage, just nice and loose to hold it, okay, in place. And then I strap it up really, really firmly with just some rigid strapping tape, which is what we've also got for the blister prevention. So I'll quickly show you that, and there's a video on this as well. So hold that. So here we go. Just standard compression bandage about that wide. I've got it up there, but you get out of the chemist. 2 fingers above the knee, just going to go straight around like that. Okay, and then I get my patient to just hold that with his finger, and then I get my strapping tape, which is just my 40mm strapping tape. This can be readjusted, by the way. You can buy these proper knee locks from the chemist for about 40 bucks, but it's just a good basic tip. And all I do is I just go nice and tight. You can let that go, okay, and it is pretty firm, all right. And I go around about 2 or 3 times around the knee there, okay, and just basically lock it so there's a bit of tension on it, and then just tear the tape, and that's pretty much done. That's pretty tight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
It feels uncomfortable, guys, at this point in time. Now, 2 words of warning, or a word of warning with this. If this is too tight, I've seen someone that's continued on with it too tight. The blood can't... Anyone heard of an arterial tourniquet? It's probably not ideal for 15 hours. So the blood sort of can still get through and perfused, you know, distally on the foot, but it really sort of blocks it coming back up. So you can get a lot of swelling on the top side or the bottom side of that. So do not let that happen to yourself if it gets to this issue. And number 2, because it's over the top of the bandage and straight on the skin, then you can loosen or tighten that when you need. So you can actually adjust it on the fly. You want it tighter, you can... I've even seen guys be really creative. I had one girl that actually had a wine bottle cork that she actually taped into there to keep pressure on that ITB. It's just about keeping pressure on it. Okay, so I went, wow, that's really cool. Like, that's a good idea. So, a bit of improvise, adapt, overcome with that scenario. Okay, so that can be tight, it can be loosened. I would not do this until you get the problem. Full stop. Don't try and do it until you get the problem. And then once you have the problem, that's sort of a bit of a cure. So we'll be out there doing a bit of this on the weekend as well. Give us a hand. Give them a hand, everyone. So that's ITB, shaping. Oh, I've got a picture of this guy's groin. That's not a bad one, but just things that you may not realise, guys, things like your hydration packs that bounce up and down. I had one guy came in and I went, dude, look, what's that? He goes, it's my nipples, they're bleeding. And he had a white shirt, and it was just like, I don't know, like a vampire had attacked him or something. It was all the way down. Oh, it's going to hurt. He's like, oh man, have you got anything? I'll give you $1,000 for anything. I just put tape straight over, it was so attractive. Put tape straight over the top of his nipples, because just the salt, the sweat, just abrasive. Things you don't probably realise, so the training might have sort of keyed you up a bit with that, but just your hydration packs that bounce up and down a bit, you know, make sure a bit of Vass or some skin slide or some tape on that will sort of help quite well, alright? You can even get your lovely, good-looking teammate to help you out with those ones probably, I don't know. As mentioned, we do have some videos on this. Kokoda Challenge has actually put it up on their page at the moment. Thanks, Joe, for that. So it's up there at the moment. Check it out, share it, have a look at it. because I do volunteer on the weekend, and guys, the reason why I keep volunteering is because generally a lot of you people end up coming through us for first aid training here on the coast, so it sort of helps out, goes round, but check the videos out and have a bit of a look in those areas as well. This is a great photo to take. Okay, these slides will be available. This is a good photo. I know Joe had it up, but this is my essential little bits and pieces. Is that a bottle of Bundaberg rum? No, it's not. It's all good. So, maybe for the support crew. So first aid kit, basic first aid kit, just nice Ziploc little bag. Get rid of all the stuff out of it you don't want. Anti-inflammatories maybe in there. Your blister poppers, a bit of tape wrapped around just a business card to keep it flat and light for everything that it takes. I normally have skins for legs because you can pull them up when you're cold and then put them back down again when you're heating up. So you'll be cold in the morning. If you've got tights and you've got stuff over the top, you've got to strip everything. So long skins for arms, long skins for legs are actually back up. Or leg warmers and arm warmers if you're a cyclist is exactly what you want. Perfect for that. Okay. Thermals for night. If you're obviously getting out there, it's going to be really cold. There's a few sections there where we drop into single digits, okay, and it gets really cold. We had some people one year pull out from hypothermia in Queensland, like, believe it or not. So it does get really cold out there, guys. So make sure that you've got yourself set up. Just a wind jacket over the top. So layering up is what you need to do with your thermals, and then a wind jacket over the top. Okay. Obviously 2 sets of shoes and socks. A mate of mine years ago, Pagey, his name is Mike Page, who is a very, very good athlete. He said to me, Scotty, if you're going to do this kokoda challenge, your whole world at night is your light. If you have a crappy light, then your world is crap. So the best advice he ever gave me was buy a really, really decent head torch. Because if you've got a good head torch, then it makes all the difference. Use it for camping, use it for work, but honestly, a decent head torch in this event, and if you've been out with night stuff, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about with that. Get a decent one. Don't buy cheapies from Bunnings or whatever and think they're going to be good, because some of them are just junk. iPod with a good AC/DC rocking it out mix when you just need some motivation, or whatever floats your boat. But just put some good music on there, because sometimes you just don't want to talk to your team members, and if you do, you just want to kill them. So put a good mix on that one. I always like to wear glasses because inevitably you will be going through lantana somewhere. There's always lantana, and it's scratchy and it's itchy. We've had a few people have those jagged in the eyes, so yeah, not ideal. So just be mindful. People might be moving it through, and it might flick back. So just I always have day and night glasses just to look after myself. Sunscreen, guys, you're going to be in the sun for the whole day, and it's probably going to be raining. But probably not. But sunscreen, because you will be outside in an exposed environment, so a decent hat and some sunscreen, a wide brim hat or something over the back of your neck. The amount of people that come in fried and burnt from these events is really quite bad. Obviously lots of water bottles in your pack, so you can just grab them and swap them nice and quickly, and then your support crew can have them and change them over when you're not, if you want to get in and out of a checkpoint reasonably quick. We set a time for a lot of the quicker crews for a 6-minute maximum at a checkpoint, but I'm recommending no more than 15 minutes at a checkpoint. Because if you're over 15 minutes, and if you've got 6 or 7 checkpoints, that's a lot of extra time to be out there. So the sooner you can get in and out of those checkpoints, have a time. Right, we've got 3 minutes to go, let's get ready. You can do that, that'll help the team to be ready and get out. So you need a butt kicker in the support crew to do that. Definitely a hydration pack of some sort, which you all will have already, and some extra tape. All the support crew going, I'm going to have you, you're out. 15 minutes. Basic first aid kit, I've spoken a bit about that, guys. That's us, obviously, on the Gold Coast at Varsity. We do a lot of training and bits and pieces for all different organisations, but also help out with events and do a lot of gear as well. A little bit about just hydration and nutrition. There's some really inventive different bits and pieces for hydration and nutrition, and I'm pretty inventive as well with what I can actually do, but don't just go straight water. If you're going straight water, it won't be any good. But again, don't go straight sports drink or straight gels either. I like to mix some of this with water and just drip feed it in over time, because if you're just loading it in, it'll just back up and you'll start getting really sick. and then it'll come out both ends, and you've sort of got to start from scratch. One of our girls that raced in our team a few years ago, she was mad on fruit, and I remember getting down one of the bottom of the hills and she pulled out this little pack with pineapple pieces. Oh, my mouth's watering already. And I'm not really into pineapple normally. Like, what's the go with pineapple? Oh, it helps your digestive enzymes in your stomach. Or I don't know, something. She's full on about it. And it really worked. I just started cooking with the pineapple bits and just natural fruit, guys. Remember your natural fruits and your nuts, you know. Really can't go a long way past those, but obviously you have your gels and all your trail mix stuff and that as well, so try some of that. Probably getting towards the end now, and not going to keep too much longer, but if you're here now, massive congratulations for getting to this point. I think, you know, you've got massive bragging rights on social if you get to the end of this one, definitely, because it is huge, and honestly, it's one of the toughest events I've ever done, and there's some tough events out there, but this is a toughie. Don't overtrain now. Don't go away from this and go, I'm going to get out and just smash it this weekend, do 8 hours. You know, no more than sort of 4 or 5 hours, maybe even 4 hours maxing this weekend. You know, you've only got a couple of weeks to go, so if you go and bust up now, a lot of people will get injured coming in now, so don't overdo it. You know, go in fresh. You'll perform a lot better if you're actually fresher, just hiking and getting it into your head, getting it into your body. Listen to your body. If you have any injuries or niggles now, have a few 2 or 3 days off in the scheme of things is nothing, guys. So take it a bit easy. Do everything this weekend that if I've mentioned it and you want to do it, don't do it on the weekend of the event. Go and have a try of this stuff now. You know, if you've got ankle issues and you've got foot issues, then this tape is not necessarily going to be any good for you. You need to go and see Brit at Gold Coast Physio for that stuff. She's, you know, Olympic physio and Commonwealth Games, so she's the girl that will be able to sort you out for that stuff. But with ankles and you know, you might have plantar fascia or something like that, but get her to sort out. This is just a second skin really for us, so you know, work it out now, and you're sort of running into a very short amount of time. And final tip is just nothing negative on the day. So you really want to be positive. You get people that walk along and go, mate, this is horrible, that's the worst thing ever. I'm going to argue with that. I'm the one that stands there and goes, mate, is this all you've got, please? Give me 10 more of you. I reckon if I can do this, I can do anything. And that's the reason you do an event like this, guys, because this is the sort of thing that you are lapping people on the couch just sitting here at this point in time. So if you can get to the end of this, and even your checkpoint, guys, if you can get to the end of this, you have achieved a massive milestone in your life. And honestly, it'll change the way that you think. The young people that do this, it changes the way they sit at an interview and look across the table at them and go, I've done Kokoda Challenge, mate. Alright, bring it on. I can do anything. Seriously, you can get that into your head, then you'll go a long way with this. Okay? So keep your negative talk to a minimum. Really start planning what gear you need. Set it all out this weekend. Start getting things going in tubs. Come up with lists. Come up with nutrition. Come up with hydration for each checkpoint. Okay, plan checkpoints, know roughly how long it's going to take to get into places so your support crew aren't sitting there for hours. Okay, so know roughly where you're at with that. Obviously having your iPod and your music, and have a discussion around whether you may or may not take anti-inflammatories, because you don't want to get out there and one person in your team decides absolutely not to take them, never tried them, can't do it, and ends up pulling out because everyone else, you know, hasn't had the conversation with them about it. So plan that stuff, talk about what you might do with it on your walk this weekend and get yourself sorted out. That's pretty much it for me, guys. All the best. I'm going to be out there on the weekend. I'm going to try and see every one of you somewhere, maybe halfway, and I'm saluting you, and I'm going to be taking photos of your feet and groin for next year. Rock out, everyone.
Thank you to Scott Whimpey, the horror